Okay, so welcome everybody to another Deep Cuts Live. I'm Antoine Reed, the host, and today my guest is Desiree Sylver from Drunk Chicken Cigars. I've been all day. I've been thinking about the conversation we had when we were doing an interview about drunken chicken cigars because I know people think that. So I was like, don't
Say
say
it
drunken.
right.
So I'm glad I got it right, even though I had to pause for a minute. I was like, wait.
I
So
really don't know where that comes from. Why drunken is so easy for everybody to say. I just
I
don't
wonder
know.
if it's like the food thing because I like to cook, and I feel like drunken chicken is like an idea, like a dish that lots of people cook, and especially in modern times, it's like I think there is a drunken chicken uh, food item. So I think everybody kind of just has food on the mind when they hear drunk chicken, they think drunken chicken.
Well, I'm not mad at them because I heard it so much that I went to buy the URL. So if you say drunken chicken, it's fine. It's going to go to drunk chicken.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today. And I know your story a little bit, so I'm going to act like I don't know it and ask all the questions that people can learn more about you. So thank you for coming on today. And why don't we start off with you kind of introducing yourself and uh, introducing your company a little bit, however you want to.
Okay. I just want to thank you for having me. And, you did interview me with tobacco business, and it was an honor to be even considered. So I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for doing that.
No, no problem.
Um, and so, like you said, I'm Desiree Sylver. I'm the owner of Drunk Chicken Cigars. We are a boutique manufacturing cigar company, and we specialize in. We start off with 5 different blends out in 2019. The DCO, which is Drunk Chicken Original, the Mother Clucker, the Fat Hen, and Living the Dreams and Sweet Dreams. And everybody asks, Drunk Chicken, where does that name come from? Is it just a gimmick or what? But I have a chicken farm, and I love chickens. And I know it's crazy to love chickens, but I love my chickens. They're all named, they're pets. They hang out, and when I'm smoking a cigar, I have one that comes over, and it seems like she wants to smoke it with me. But she always jumps on the table to kind of see what I'm drinking, it, what I'm eating, and what I'm smoking. But yeah, it's Drunk Chicken. Just came from the name, playful name that my friends gave my backyard because of the chickens, and we're drunk. They look drunk, and we're having fun.
So now, when
um,
you decided to start the cigar brand, like how did you get started? Because I know a lot of people always have dreams of starting their own brand, but it's a different thing to actually put in the work to make it happen. So what was your process like?
So I never started off to have a cigar brand. I started off, I smoke cigars. My fiance smokes cigars, and we travel a lot. And we used to joke saying that one of us is going to have to quit because our cigar habit was getting pretty expensive. And so when we ran into this group of rollers, the manufacturers that we deal with now, um, they told us that they can make any cigar that we wanted, and at a decent price. And so that gave us hope that we both can continue to smoke. So the first 5 cigars were made based off of our palates, how we like to smoke. Um, the DCO Drunk Chicken Original was the first one that we both like, but it was made in the Gordo because he likes 6x60s. Um, and he likes full body cigars. I don't mind a full body cigar, but it was a great smoke. It was smooth. So I was like, yeah, this one was good. The Mother Clucker, I love that one because I was drinking red wine when I was testing it out, and it just paired so well with my red wine. So I chose that one. The Fat Hen we both really love. But that one we did in the short torpedo because I could be on a 45-minute break from work when they're, they're pissing you off at work. You need a quick smoke so you can get your head right. You can keep your job.
I know about that.
Yes. So I go down, get a quick smoke, or he'll take a break at work, have a quick smoke. So that's why we did the shorty torpedoes. And we compromised because the shorty torpedoes give you that almost that 60 ring gauge, but because it's torpedo, for me, the living the dream was just so smooth and so light. It's just one of those cigars you can pick up anytime you just want to smoke something, no matter how much you smoke that day. So I just had to have that because I at that time I was smoking 2, 3, sometimes 4 a day, and then you get to having those stronger ones in the evening, and you go, it's too much. I'll just take something light. So that made sense. And the sweet dreams. Was not either one of us choice. We came up with the Connecticut with the Nicaraguan fillers, and we were both like, not sure, and we were going back and forth. And the manufacturer says, "Hey, try it with the sweet tip." We were like, "No sweet, no." He was like, "You've got to try it with the sweet." He said, "You have a good blend, but try it with the sweet." So we tried it with the sweet, and I was doing it in the morning with coffee, and it just paired so well. It was like cream in my coffee. So I was like, okay, I can do this. So it's not an infused cigar, so it's not super duper sweet. So that's how we started. We promised to buy 500 cigars from them, so they gave us a great deal. We bought 100 of each one, and it was, again, not meant to sell. We stuck it in our humidor and the our freezer and every place else because it was 500 cigars.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time we didn't have a humidor big enough. We converted underneath the steps into a humidor because of how many cigars we ended up with. But we started smoking them, going to the lounges and stuff pre-COVID. And people, what are you smoking? And it was like, oh, one of our cigars. Here, have one. We had 500, so here, have one. And people started, our friends, and was telling us that, hey, you should sell this. And so I started looking into this. We heard it so much that it was a good cigar that we should sell it. I started to research it, talk to some of the lounge owners, and see what they thought about it. What would I have to change? What did they like about it? What didn't they like about it? Got their feedback, and started going from there.
And how much research would you say went into what you did before you really launched?
Several hours of research because it wasn't just the lounge owners, but I had to make sure that I had the right manufacturers, the right pricing, negotiate different pricing, because that price that we received was just for us getting 500. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're talking about full production or some type of production on these, negotiate prices, and then not only negotiate prices, but talk to other people that were doing similar. We looked in Dominican, we looked in Nicaragua, and see what the differences are. We talked to other brand owners and discussed what were their what did they like, what didn't they like, what were their drawbacks, why did they stop selling, and some former brand owners, and then talked to several different lounges. And yeah, it took a while before we just said, yeah, we're going to do this, because we wanted to make sure that we entered the market, that I didn't want to leave it right away if I had to leave. So I wanted to make sure that I had quality at the right price and something that could sell.
What's surprised you the most since you've become a brand owner compared to just a cigar smoker?
The cost of these bands. um, that was a joke, but that surprised me the most with starting the brand. Was I had no clue that these little things would cost so much, the production time, all the effort to design them and stuff like that. But what differences? So it's hard for me now to find a corner to relax in the lounge without somebody want to talk about cigars. I talk about cigars enough, so I want to kind of just sometimes just go to the lounge and just chill, talk about whatever craziness is on TV, or something else, anything else.
I guess that's another good question to have. Like, I know you're always like a multitasker and having to do 10,000 things at once and juggle these different things. So how do you balance everything? Like, how do you find the time, like you said, maybe to compartmentalize work over here and personal life over here and not let things kind of get out of control?
Um, I don't know the answer to that because everything is out of control right now. How do I? It's hard. It's very, very hard because I still work a full-time job. I'm still answering emails, for the Drunk Chicken while I'm working on my full-time job. I'm a single mom, meaning that her dad does not live in the house, so there's a little bit more on me. And well, and so today, trying to get to do this, I had to call her, Dad, do me a favor, please, begging, and pick her
Mm-hmm.
up and keep her with you. So I had to make sure that, everything's all right. And there's sometimes I just have to say good enough is good enough. With things that's going on in the house, I can tell you 10 things right now that I need to do in that house. Yeah, it'll wait.
It's kind of the curse of entrepreneurship that
Yeah.
a lot of people don't always think about, is that you always are going to have to balance all these different things, and sometimes you have to balance two full-time jobs. It's
Yes.
not the idea of a full-time job and a side hustle. Kind of both of them require 8 hours a day, so you're kind of
Or more.
always running and working.
Yeah, and then everyone sees it and, oh, you're making all this money. No, it's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot to prioritize, and you want to make sure that your production keeps on going. And then all of a sudden, bands are out, so there's more money to bands, and then all of a sudden you need more cellophane, and there's always something that advertising, social media. So there's a lot that goes into it to make this all come together.
How easy or how hard is it to make a profit on cigars?
I'll let you know when I do.
I think it's something because most brand owners that aren't owned by a larger group or corporation type company that I speak to always says that an easy it's not an easy thing to do. It's not like you don't get into making cigars and creating your own cigar brand really to make money. You kind of do it because you have a passion for it. So is that the case with you?
Exactly. Yeah, you have to do it because you have a passion. Because if money is going to be made, it's going to be several years down the line. Now, do I have a plan? Absolutely. Stay tuned. I think there's a lot that goes into making the whole thing happen behind the scenes that people don't get to see. And I just, where I was speaking of the production, and when you introduce one person to a cigar, and you introduce millions when you did tobacco business. Now, everybody that used to smoke it, wants to smoke it again. And now I have two other people down so manufacturing, I have to up manufacturing now. So the money you just made goes back into that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a chasing right now of my dream.
And I think that's an important too. It's like you don't make money to like make money. Like you make money to reinvest in your company to make it better and to continue to grow it, which I think a lot of people, again, don't always think about. They think it's just money comes in and that's it. And like you're taken care of. They don't get that flow and the circle of life in terms of business.
Yeah, if I go and spend the money that comes in on, oh, look, I just have $10. And if I go spend that $10 on a new pair of shoes, guess what's not going to happen? The next batch of cigars. So,
in terms of your, like, how you've grown your brand, how's your relationship with retailers? Like, how easy is it for you to start up relationships with new retailers, get them on board with your brand, get them to try it, get them to give you shelf space?
I would tell you it's for every 10 people that I talk to, I probably get 2 to say yes. So it maybe 3 now, but when I first started, it was probably 1. Last year was 2. I think I'm up to maybe 3 saying yes right now, for every 10. But it's not they say yes right away. It's I don't know, and okay, well, let me talk to you next week, and you follow up, and let me give you a sample of cigars. So that's another where your money is going into a space that you don't see. Loungers want to try the cigars, so now let me follow up after you smoke the cigar. So there's something, and some of it too is I'm unknown. I'm an unknown in the industry, and until I have to kind of what do you say, prove myself, I guess, and make sure people know that I'm giving you quality. People understand that if even when I come out with something new, that all right, well, her last one was quality, I expect this one to be too. So,
I guess what's that, like, how would you have to prove yourself? Because I say that because there are some companies that I know they've been around a while and they can release something and they have retailers that just pick it up. But at the same time, sometimes those retailers don't have a close relationship with those brands, and they never see a brand rep, they never see the brand owner except for a special occasion. And it would seem to me like they would, like, those brands, the bigger they get, the more they have to prove. And I guess, are you trying to say, like,
total opposite? It's the bigger
right,
they are, the more they seem to trust them. The brand cigar lounges right now don't know if I'm gonna be around next week. Cigar lounges don't know if I'm going to if my quality is going to be consistent. Brand, so right now they want to, they're looking and seeing and keeping their eye on what's going on, and hopefully through relationship building, like we just talked about. Hey, Lit Torch. I'll talk to you about Susie in a second, because that's my girl. I couldn't do a lot of things without partnerships like with her, but building relationships and them seeing that I'm a consistent, my cigars are consistent. We've launched a new cigar, the Homicidal Hen. That was good. People love that one. And so hopefully the next time I launch something, they'll go, okay, the last time it was good, it sold. So, proving myself, and it'll take time, but we're going to get there.
Do retailers in particular care about how much coverage you get from different cigar media? Do they care about ratings and all that kind of stuff? Does that stuff weigh in for them these days? And maybe, because I know maybe it did, like, in the yonder year, during the cigar boom, but, like, does that kind of stuff matter now? Or are they completely looking at different other criteria to kind of judge and grade you on?
So I think it matters because the consumer is reading it, and the consumer reads it. The consumer comes in and asks for it. Hey, I just read this article, so they ask for it. The retail shops are putting the magazines in their shops for the consumers to pick up and read. So they're going to go by what their consumers are asking for. So I think it matters to some degree. Maybe not as, and I don't know if it mattered as much. I don't know the difference between then and now, but I do know right now it does make a difference because of consumers.
So what's the best way, in your opinion, to engage with consumers today? Because it used to be cigar companies would all flock to print ads in, a handful of magazines. And now they seem to have kind of gravitated away from print and they're doing some digital stuff, but it's not a lot of digital stuff. So it's like, how are you particularly targeting consumers and getting your messaging out there?
Social media is huge. We just talked about Susie Lit Torch app. She's been amazing. She has this cigar app for smokers,
Mhm.
and people go there and post, and she does ads, and when events come, making sure that the word is out that you're going to be at the event. I'm old school too in a lot of things that I do. Email, pick up the phone. So those things make a difference.
When you talked about her app, it just reminded me of I've been doing all this research on NFTs, and I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're fungible tokens. But they're all based around art, and basically it's like a blockchain thing. It's complicated. We should probably talk about it offline. But I was wondering, because I know you and I were talking about the artwork for your company, and it seems a lot of the NFT stuff is based on artwork a lot of times, and it's like you can buy an NFT like a piece of art, and it's like you might get certain perks from it. You might get certain, and I know certain cigar companies have played around with NFTs, but it might be something for you to kind of look at, because it could be something completely new and different, because you're always talking about innovation, and maybe this is the way to really sell cigars or get that funding in a completely different way.
We're talking about the digital art NFTs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've seen a little bit of that, especially the younger generation is capitalizing on that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look into it. But yeah, everything helps. I haven't ever stopped researching from the day that I said yes. I'm gonna do this. It is every day figuring out what's the next step, what's the next move, what's the next moving part. Did something fall off? Is there something broken? And let me pick it up and try again. Or there's always something. And without the ambassadors there helping out, without strategic partnerships that I've entered into, I don't know if I would be here where I am.
What was your experience like going to PCA this year? Because I know you had a pretty good show at that trade show, and interacting with the different retailers, and also being there with all the different brands from the industry all at one time. So, like, what was that experience like for you?
It was scary. I fussed all the way to TV. Yeah, I mean, PCA. I fussed all the way there. I was like, "This is bankrupting me. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this." I got there, and it was extremely overwhelming, but welcoming at the same time. If I was going to do it, that's what I was thinking, or I was saying to myself, if I'm going to be serious in the cigar industry, I need to go where the cigar trade show is, period.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I'm a cigar brand owner if I'm not there presenting to retailers. So I put every egg that I had in that basket and said, I'm going to do this. And all of the ambassadors at the time showed up and showed out. I was so blessed and thankful for everything. It was just amazing.
Did you get a chance to interact with any other brand owners at that show, or did you start
I started at 8. I went to bed at 1, and I started rewind. The last day, I think it was the last day. The second day, it was 3 days. The second day, for the last hour, I got to walk around a little bit to see what was going on in the floor. But I did, say hi to Karen Burgess and AJ. That's it. That's about it.
But I would say that's a good show, though, because if you had time to do that during the show, then something would, in my opinion, be definitely off. So the fact that, like you said, it's usually like that last, for brand owners, it's usually that last day of the show, the last couple of hours when things kind of slow down that you do get a chance to kind of go around and mingle with everybody else. So
I wouldn't even call it mingle. I just wanted to see how big the floor was and see, you know, what was going on. And because it was just like I didn't get a chance to move from my spot. And I took a few minutes to do that. And I was proud. I was proud of what we did. I was proud of the accomplishment. It provided us a seat at the table, so I'm happy that we did it. But I
you talked
fussed.
about you talked about Karen Berger, and it's like you and her and several other women are, I think, changing the narrative a bit in the industry by being owners and not just, you know, behind the scenes people. Like you're out in front, which I think is different. So do you kind of see women's positions and place in the industry kind of changing for the better, or do you think there's still a lot of work to be done? What's your feelings on that?
It's changing for the better, but there's still work to be done. Stay tuned. I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it. I just see that there's a lot of other spaces that women can be in. Women have been in over the last, I would say, 7 to 5 years. Women have been a bigger voice, a bigger influence in the cigar industry than they have been before. And I see that will continue. And with that continuing, I think that the love and support that I've been getting from women has been amazing. So thank you, everyone. And I'm hoping that will continue so that other women can enter into the market and continue to influence in a positive manner.
Now, what's been in your experience? I know some women that I've interviewed have said they've had mixed experiences. For example, walking into a retailer and, you know, the retailer for whatever reason kind of looks, you know, for a male to be the one that they're going to talk to for business. Have you encountered that? Because I hope you have not. But
I have, absolutely. Even at PCA, a gentleman sat down and said, "What do you know about cigars?" I was like, "I'm a brand owner." Yeah, so I've gotten that. I still get it. I've called places. Well, who do you rep for? Drunk Chicken Cigars. Yeah, so it has been. You couldn't be an owner. You don't know anything about cigars. It's another one of those things. Places that I feel like I'm being tested on several times, and so that's okay. Everyone will get used to us eventually. We're here to stay.
And I like when we did the other interview about you were saying that some people kind of encouraged you or put the thought out there that maybe you should change the name of your cigar brand and you would have maybe more success and stuff, but you kind of stuck to your guns and said, no, this is a name that we're going with and we're going to make it work. So how has that process been? Like, do you ever have moments where you think maybe we should change the name or maybe we should change the band artwork to make it more, you know, like, I don't know, to make it more something like
Traditional.
uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. The beginning, this week is come up about is Drunk Chicken Cigars just a gimmick? What's up with all the chickens? Yeah, I've several times, especially in the beginning, should not, maybe I just call it DCC. And if somebody asks, I can say Drunk Chicken Cigars. Maybe I should get rid of all the chicken references. But then for me, I wouldn't be true to why we picked the name and what I love. Everything that I love in life is put into these cigars. The name of the cigars, the Mother Clucker, was that rooster. That Mother Clucker used to attack me all the time. When every time I tried to feed him, and living the dream. That's what I'm doing right now. Sweet dreams. I'm having sweet dreams. Fat Hen is Big Shirley. She is the queen of the chicken coop. She's the top queen in there. So she and then DCO is the the name of the company. but it's everything that I value, everything that I treasure, because animals never let you down like people do. And I
Well, that's
can
a
go
good
in that
point.
backyard and hang out with them, and they will always be consistent the same.
And that's a
And they
good point.
listen. They listen.
What would be your advice to other people, for somebody in 2021 or 2022, for those people who are watching this in the future? What would you be your advice to people who are thinking like, maybe I want to launch my own cigar company? Like, what would you say to that person
Don't
other
do
than don't?
it. Don't do it. Um, be prepared for hard work. Um, it's a journey. It's a long journey, um, and don't be afraid of the negativity, because I get a lot from all different perspectives. So don't be afraid of it. It is what it is, and not everyone's going to like you.
How do you deal with negative feedback? Because I know a lot of us, the moment we hear something, even an ounce of negativity, we're ready to fight. So what's that like for you? Like, how do you kind of, take that negative feedback or those not so pleasant moments and conversations in and go, okay, how do you deal with that?
I go call Susie. Susie, guess what? And I vent, and she goes, "Don't let it go, Des. Let it go." And I am, but I just can't believe they said that. That hurt my feelings. Oh well, cigar is not about feelings.
That's a good quote. Cigars aren't. I mean, it is to a certain point, but overall, I mean, I don't think you can get into this industry with thin skin.
Not at all. Not at all. And then I've decided to do something unusual, and so when you decide to do that, it is very scrutinized, and that's not the norm. You're not traditional, so there has to be something wrong. So everyone's trying to find something wrong because it is different.
When you bring up that point about doing the unusual, it reminds me of, so many boutique companies that are in the industry right now have had great success by being non-traditional, and they oftentimes their narrative is that they come out with something that's completely up against the norms of the industry, and they hear a lot of people telling them that you're not going to be successful, this doesn't work. So I asked you this question a couple months ago, but what's your feeling about being called boutique? Like, do you kind of embrace that, or do you kind of rebel against that, or do you kind of use that as maybe saying, I might be boutique by definition right now, but I hope to be something else later on?
So I'm confused by the definition boutique. I think this is what I said to you,
Yeah,
because Rocky Patel, I think I saw a quote where he said he's always going to be boutique. Well, then in that case, I'm not sure I'm boutique. I'm boutique. um, but you know what? It's if boutique means custom, quality, care, love, then that's what I am. Hey, Eric. That's one of the ambassadors there, Eric. Story. He's amazing. He was the first one. But to get back to your question, yeah, I, I will embrace boutique if that's what the meaning means. Um, that's what we do, lean on each other. Yes, Susie, we do lean on each other because, like I said, the not having somebody that you can talk to, be a confidant, that's going to be your cheerleader when you're down, and I cheerlead her, she cheerleads me, help each other out when things go on. Hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? It's there's great things about it too. So don't think that it's all negative. It's hard work, but I've met great people in the industry, amazing people.
one of the things that I've found maybe doing these interviews have popped up a lot in the last years there seems to be a lot of retailers that feel like the black smoker is a new demographic, which I don't understand. And some of these retailers, and they have told other brand owners, especially brands owned by people of color, that they don't necessarily know how to, like, what should we do? How should we deal with these, this demographic, the black smoker? Like, I don't understand that. Like, do you understand maybe like why it's different or difficult for some brand owners to feel like this demographic is different from any other demographic?
So, that's funny that you say that, because I hear that from retailers that are black and white. So it's not a retailer that, oh, you're a different race than me, you don't know how to deal with black smokers. I have gone to lounges where we're the same race and you have that same concern, and I don't understand it. I'm in the business of making cigars. I just happen to be black,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the business of making a quality cigar. So I would tell retailers how to deal with us is talk about my cigar. And if somebody asks about the manufacturer, you can mention me, but the cigar is what you need to talk about. So if somebody comes in and says, I like a full body cigar, then point them to the DCO and talk about the notes of that. If somebody says, I'm always smoking Cuban cigars, or I'm always smoking light cigars, well, point them to the Living the Dream. Talk about the smoothness of it. Talk about the cigar, because the cigar is what they came in there for. Now, if they want an interesting story to go along with it, by the way, she has a chicken farm, but don't treat us different. Treat us the same as you would with the other manufacturers and brand owners. Talk about the cigar. Talk about the experience. Talk about the flavors and the notes. And here's something new you should try.
I know I was doing an interview last week on somebody else's podcast, and I was talking about that same subject, and I kind of came to the same conclusion that you did, that, when you talk about different brands, maybe the best approach is just to treat all the brands equally. So like, you shouldn't treat a brand owned by a black person or a woman any differently from any other brand. And by positioning these brands, in the same way and equally, you're kind of doing better. So maybe that's what retailers kind of need to do as well, is just, like you said, kind of treat everybody in your humidor equally, and it's not bring up you can bring up the fact like who owns the brand, because I think a lot of people are interested in knowing that, but you don't have to make that like your first go-to moment. Like, you don't have to say this brand is owned by a woman. Oh, and then here's all the other information about it.
I've seen where they even have, I'm sorry, something just caught my throat.
It's fine. It's live.
So they'll put you in sections and here, and it's good. And I know that there's a movement. Hey, Black Lives Matter, Black empowerment, Black dollars. Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. But if somebody wants to come in and buy a Black-owned cigar, well, this one is, and that one is, and that one is. And what are you looking for? So you can explain the differences in the cigars. There are several wonderful Black-owned cigars, brand owners that I've tried out their cigars and absolutely love their cigars, but they're different than my cigars too. And so if somebody was coming in looking for lots of pepper, I would not necessarily point them to one of my cigars, because that's not what any of them have. But there is a cigar from a Black-owned cigar manufacturer that has some. So there's different notes in every cigar. And if somebody's looking for that, explain it to them.
Now, as a boutique owner, I know shelf space is always one of those unspoken things that kind of happens in the industry, where I know certain brands say, like, if you take our product in, it needs to be on, eye level or this space, or you have to display it in this way. And it kind of pushes people who are like smaller brand owners kind of to the sides or different placement. Like how, what's the shelf space issue like for you? Have you encountered that problem, or is it just kind of an industry standard?
So I don't really push for certain shelf space. I don't make that a priority. But I do know that if you're put at the bottom of the shelf, you're going to have a problem moving the cigar, whether it's Rocky or Desiree. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a little harder time moving those cigars. And it's even going to be harder when it is Desiree because no one knows Desiree. So shelf space is a premium. So one of the things that I try to do is with the ambassadors, being able to have several of them now, is to go and have cut and lights, introduce the customers to the cigars, and be in the lounges, and when people are smoking, talk about it, bring it up, introduce them to it, so that whether I'm on the bottom shelf or the middle or the top shelf, that they know a little bit more. So information helps.
Have
Conversation
you
helps.
been able to do more in-person events in the recent months?
I didn't stop doing events. COVID, right through COVID. Yeah. So there were states that never shut down. You just go to those states and you cross your finger and pray, and take a shot too.
Do you think in-person events is still the way to, is still the way to go in terms of selling your product? Or do you think, I know more companies kind of shifted to virtual and they got a lot more traction just because people hadn't uh, seen them a lot. They hadn't been able to go to an event locally that had them. So do you think this hybrid in-person virtual thing is kind of going to be the standard going forward? Or do you think most brands are going to shift more towards the in-person events over the virtual?
um, I think that's going to be a personal preference for cigar lounges. The shots work, yeah. We're not talking about the COVID shots. We're talking about whiskey shots. Yes, that was our thing. We would go to a lounge, and every time we shook somebody's hand or had a long conversation, we would take a shot. We said they'd kill all the germs. So we had to be careful how many people we talked to because we would get a little twisted. But we survived COVID. I'm still surviving. But yeah, I think that's going to be a personal preference, getting back to what you were saying on in person or virtual. I think they both have a place, especially since we're in such a virtual situation. Everybody walks around with a computer in their hand,
Mm-hmm.
um, and everybody's looking at social media. So you can't get away from that. You can't get away from these type of Zooms. When people want information, they'll go to these lives, and then the lives are recorded, go to YouTube. There's lots of reviews that are happening, besides the interviews, reviews on cigars. So having people talk about the cigars too, in the reviews. So I think it's going to be a hybrid approach. Uh, I definitely did some of that as well. Did some virtual herfs, got people together that was smoking, and that was one of the ways that I got to know what my customers thought about my cigars, what notes they were getting when they smoked the cigars. That actually helped me with crafting the verbiage in the pamphlets that you see now, because it wasn't just my palate. It was, what are other people saying? What notes do you have? So there's a place for all of it. So I think it's going to be a hybrid.
Now, since you've been in the industry for, I think, a while now, what's one thing that you really like about the industry, and what's one thing that you wish or that you would change about the industry?
I love the openness of the cigar smoker. You can go in no matter what race you are, what political stance, religion, or whatever, and you go in and you can just meet somebody and they just like brothers and sisters sitting down having a great conversation. Everyone seems to be so welcoming, and I love that about the industry. Um, one thing I would change about the industry. I don't know yet. Well, okay. So with all this digital age that's going on right now, um, the retailers still love that person to person. Want somebody to be there to take their order, and I feel like, you know, hey, this is a digital world. Go online and place an order. But I understand it. But it's something that I would definitely would like to see. You know, do a little different or a little better.
Yeah, and I don't think I've heard that a lot, that the retailers are not exactly where the technology is today. So I think a lot of people, I think we get used to, like you and I probably use Amazon, and we're fine with shopping online. But do you think retailers are there yet, or are they still kind of wanting like the old time sales rep to come into the store and show them the catalog and then take their order, and then like
Yeah.
is it?
Yes, absolutely. Not only that, there's several times I will call, hey, I haven't heard from you in a minute. Oh, you know what? I've been meaning to call you. I've been out for a little while. I don't get it. I mean, if I'm ever able to own a shop, if I ever go in that direction, if something's sold and it made me money, I gotta buy it again. But it's not like that. With they're waiting for someone to comment, hey, yeah, But I also see that they may be busy, and there could be a whole lot of circumstances. I just don't understand it because I'm not in that part of the industry, I guess.
I know one person who worked at another cigar company was telling me, like, he's like, one of the biggest issues is that sometimes, the retailers don't even have an email address. He said, I try to reach out to them through an email or say, I'll send you a catalog or the price sheet. And they're like, no, like, I need a sales rep to come in. And like, I don't have a sales rep. I'm a boutique, smaller company. So it just mystifies me that, here it is 2021, and yet the retailers, some of them, or I think more than some, like a lot of them in the tobacco industry at least, seem to be kind of operating as if it's like 1997, like pre-internet.
1997, 1979. One guy told me, well, call me when you get a rep. Yeah, so it's yeah, there is a huge difference in how where technology is and where some of the retailers are.
Now you've partnered up with Sutliff Tobacco Company, right?
I have, yes. They're
Like,
my
has that helped your workload a little bit? Like, manage some of the tasks that you that you were trying to do yourself too? Exactly.
Yes, I had to partner. I was becoming the what do you call it? The thing that was going to make my company go down. I was the one point of failure in the company. I was trying to do sales, talk to sales rep, talk to uh, understand marketing, doing social media, trying to do, when orders were placed online, retail and wholesale, trying to fulfill orders. And it got to the point where I was failing at everything. So partnering with a distributor allowed me not to focus on shipping or receiving anymore. I do have to make sure that they have a ample amount of inventory. I have more time now to talk to lounge owners, talk with the sales rep, ambassadors. That's what I call them. Help them out, marketing, to focus on that more. So that freed me up. I I was doing more shipping and receiving than anything, and it was really causing a problem for the company. So I had to find a way. So distribution is key.
I think that's a problem a lot of brand owners kind of deal with, in that, when you start your new business or start a business, you think, I'm going to do everything myself. Part of it is like a control thing, maybe, and part of it is just wanting to save on the budget. So, like, you seem to learn that lesson early on, that maybe you can't be everything to your company.
Well, some of it is too is you don't know what you don't know, and I had to research distributors, and if I'm not selling, and if I'm not selling at a certain rate, then they just become a warehousing for so they're not all eager to take you on either. So you have to kind of again prove yourself, to make sure that they're just not giving you free warehousing of your cigars. So, but yeah, as soon as you start to, as if you decide to do anything, but as soon as you start to see that you are starting to become a problem for your company because you're taking on too much, or you're not being as effective as you used to be. I was not effective in being able to do sales at all. That was just something that was cut off at that point because I was doing too much. I had to take that note, but it's been a blessing. They are amazing, and they have helped with the transition. And I wish I'd have known about it earlier, but I think I'm there at the right place at the right time.
Well, I know I'm working on an interview with Jeremy from Sutliff. So when I saw the list of different companies that they were distributing, I was like, oh, it's like Drunk Chicken and Emperor's Cut and stuff. So they have a pretty good portfolio of brands and unique brands that they're representing. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Someone saw me choking. Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, Jeremy is amazing. Like I said, he's been very welcoming. They have a great team that they work with. Kevin works his cigar section, and works the sales, and I met all the ladies there, and I mean, they are amazing. I'm 2 hours away, and I've gone down there several times just to kind of hang out. I have fun with them.
I think that's important too, to find a partner that's not just a transactional relationship, but one that you would want to drive 2 hours just to hang out with them.
Yeah, they made me feel like I was part of the family right from the beginning. And they told me, they were like, yeah, right, Drunk Chicken. They were very suspicious, but I mean, almost from the beginning, we kicked it off and hit it off.
So what's the future look like for Drunk Chicken? Like, are you working on any new blends? Are you working on any new projects, or what's the future look like for you?
New projects, new blends. I want to do new blends. You'll probably see new blends. I'm not sure. Depends on the project. So I have a big project that I'm working on right now. And I'm hoping that it will be February, March that I can announce it. All the paperwork and the ink is dried. And if all of that goes well, then I probably will not do any new blends next year, because it's a huge project. If that kind of falls by the wayside, which I don't expect it to, then I have a couple new names. I've already have the bands made for them. I already have the concept for them. I don't have the blends, but I already kind of have in my head what I want to do. So those will probably be in 2023.
I know. I think I asked you this when I interviewed you, and I maybe it was that question that stumped you. But what have you learned about yourself since you started Drunk Chicken?
Oh wow.
This is always that Oprah question that gets people.
That I could do much more than I thought I could, because I could have if you would have asked me if I could have run a business full time, work full time, take care of kids, and where I am right now, I would have told you no way, it can't happen. But you find a way, you find time, you find people that are great, that's in your corner. Eric, come on over here. He's online, but in the room. So since he's in the room. That's Eric's story. He was the first ambassador of Drunk Chicken Cigars. He's over there listening. I keep hearing the echo, and I'm like, who's that? He's over there listening to it. But yeah, I mean, amazing guy here. He's like, I don't even know what to say about you. Like I said, you have to find people that's in your corner, that believe in your dream, that and help take it to the next level. So this family.
Well, that's awesome. Well, as we kind of come to the close of this interview, I want you to give the websites people should visit, the Instagram, anything else that's important for them to learn more about you and learn more about Drunk Chicken.
All right. So can I do a couple little shout outs, please?
Yes, of course.
All right. So I just Eric is amazing, but there's other ambassadors as well. Armando Gutierrez, he's amazing. He was our second ambassador. He's out there in Texas. So, hey, Armando. And then there's Clee Johnson. He's out in New York. I think he was the third. And Tanya was the third? No, Clee was. And then Tanya was next, and she's out in Georgia. Tanya, what's that? Pritchett. And then you have James Johnson. Again, I think that Clee and James are brothers, but they refuse to say that they are. But James is also in Georgia. Georgia is such a big market. We felt like we could do that. But Tanya also has been amazing in working on some of the behind the scenes marketing type stuff that goes on. And hopefully Donnie, we're grooming him right now to bring him on. So he may be part of it too, very, very soon. So, but this is the dream team. You have to have your dream team behind you. Like I have to give a shout out again to Susie with Lit Torch Cigar app. If you don't have it, go spark that flame, download it, because not only will you find out what lounges that Drunk Chicken Cigars in, but you'll find out what the local lounges are around you, and you'll be able to connect with a lot of other smokers in your area. So with that said, what you asked me to do, I'll do it now. If you want to find Drunk Chicken Cigars, www.drunkchickencigars.com, Instagram, Drunk Chicken Cigars. Twitter is D Chicken Cigars. There's too many letters for them. And Eric, if you want to get a sample pack, and you can get 15% off by using the code. What's your code? Eric Story, and you'll get 15% off on the website. So go out there and do that. Use Eric's code to get 15% off. But and if you meet one of the ambassadors at a lounge or out, say hello. Ask them about Drunk Chicken Cigars. They're happy to help you.
Awesome. Well, is there anything that we didn't cover this hour that you want to leave with the readers, or does the listeners? Eric want to say anything to people before we sign off?
You want to say something before we sign off?
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to unplug your computer.
Okay, that's fine.
Unplug my internet now. None of the computers downstairs.
And we accidentally unplugged the internet, so we're being booted off of here. But the last last thing I want to say is, Drunk Chicken Cigars is that any time of the day cigar for anybody. We have a cigar for almost anybody. So please feel free to check us out. There's lots of information about every single one of the cigars out there on the website. So thank you, and check us out.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on today and sharing your story with us. And for anybody who's watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, please visit deepcutslive.com, where we'll be posting this interview, and you'll see all the other 60 some interviews that we've done in the past. So thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you, Desiree, next time, and with everybody else during our next episode.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been amazing.
Thank you for coming on. Awesome. Thank you.
All right.